Hello everyone, this week we will explore how to paint flowers using watercolors. Welcome to my home studio where I share my passion for watercolor paintings. One of the subscribers requested another flower painting tutorial. So in this video, I'll show you how to look for lighting and shadows and how to create softer edges and using layering to give your flowers a stunning 3D look. Before we dive in, be sure to hit the subscribe button to become a part of our ever-growing creative community. Now, without further ado, let's get started, everyone. Before I start my painting, I usually analyze my reference and always thinking about how can I simplify my reference so that I could paint freely without even thinking about it. And not that many YouTube tutorials cover this analyzing reference part, but this is really important. So this helps us to paint a little bit better with the plan of attack in our mind. And this reference was taken from Montreal Flower Show. And as for the materials, I use Saunders Waterford 9x12, but I cut it into 5x7 so I can frame this flower painting. And for the paints, I use Winsor Newton Professional, and you could use any watercolor paints you want. I want to expedite the process, so I went ahead and finished the first wash for this painting. But if you want to learn how to do the first wash, check this other floor painting tutorial which I've done 2 weeks ago. So the first thing is for first wash is I'm seeing a color close to the light which is in the reference and applying that paint on all the leaves and the flowers. And now, and this is the other part, like you have to think about positive versus negative shapes. So these are like the negative shapes which is going around the flowers. So I want to make sure to capture this water, but I'm making sure to just capture the light wash first. Again, even when I'm doing this mix, I'm using cerulean blue and a little bit of green here and there to make the wash a little bit not monotonous, have a little bit of color variations. And you can also see the positive shapes. I also left some highlights for the flower and the stem which is going underneath it. And since the wash is wet, now I'm introducing a little bit of blue, that reflection which is reflecting on the pond. So whenever you paint flowers, you could do positive versus negative, but I want to create something, it kind of acts as a silhouette. So that's why I was painting this water behind it. The other thing is I did dry out the watercolor paper before I went on to the next wash. I used the air dryer, and you could see that this is where it's really important to look for hard and soft edges, and this is necessary whenever you paint florals. And I'm checking that the things on the top, and you can see the leaves are folding over. So what's happening is there are the green, the shadows which is coming to us, and the light which is going on the other side. So I use clean water and that little bit of this lemon yellow to roll over the leaves, so it kind of gives that 3D look. And now I'm kind of adding the first wash for the flower underneath it. And you can see that I'm using a shadow color. I'm using blue and a little bit of green in it, and I'm soft on the edge because since it's a rounder form and I want to capture it. And this is my focal point, my flower and those 3 petals, this 3 leaves which is sitting there is my focal point. So I'll spend more time there in the rest of the painting. So the rest leaves which are sitting at the bottom, it's going to act as a stand-in because it's kind of like a pyramid composition. So everything goes to this flowers which is at the top. And again, when I'm painting this, I'm thinking about the light and shadow. So the first wash, we kind of like staining the wash to see where everything goes. And this is the wash, we seeing the local color of the light. And you can see that I'm using the air dryer again. So because if you want to create harder edges in florals or any kind of painting in watercolors, you have to have dried watercolor paper, or else your colors will run everywhere. And if you're doing a big painting, because you'll be focusing on different areas, so certain areas will dry up so we can go and do it. Since it's a 5x7 painting, so I want to make sure to capture my shadows as accurate as possible. And you can see that the second wash we did the local color of the light. Now I'm adding the shadows on top of it. And as soon as we add the shadows, you could see that the things started appearing on our scene, the lighting started appearing on our scene. So there's another trick. Whenever I paint, I usually think back in my mind is just painting the light and shadows. I don't think about I'm painting the leaves. I'll think about I'm painting the shadow or the light. And you can see that even as soon as I add the shadow at the bottom of this leaf, and you can see that there's forms of 3D started appearing on that leaf already. And I'm trying to get that shadow from the left hand side, and I'm trying to get that blurry edge. And there's also shadow underneath it, like a darker shadow, and you will surprise as soon as we add it, and you can see that the lighting started appearing on our scene. And again, when I'm doing this, I'm thinking in, is it a hard edge or soft edge? And make sure to capture that, because that is really essential in any kind of painting we do. And I always think about it is thinking everything in terms of light and shadow. And you can see that I also add the shadow for the bottom of the small flower, which is not bloomed yet. And you can see that just by doing it, you can see that it went behind the flower which is close to us. And this is kind of like the trickiest part when I was doing this leaves, because it has a lot of folds and it's something coming in the front and something going at the back. But again, I squint my eyes in cases like this, and I'll try to simplify the shape. I'll think in shapes and I'll paint the light and the shadows, and I always think about my values as well. So is it a darker value or the lighter value? And so now our main component is the flower itself. Again, the flower which is the petals which is facing us is softer, so I'm trying to capture the softer edge, but if it's a hard edge, I'll try to capture that. And the easiest way to create softer and harder edges, if you want to create a softer edge, you put a color and use clean water on the edge where you want to create that softer edges. And again, I'm adding the shadows for the leaves on the stem and for the flowers. And sometimes what happens is when you paint, your painting will look dull, the value go lighter. For example, if you see the top leaf which is on top of the flower, even though I put a value, I thought it's good, but it got lighter. But I'll go and glaze over it again and you will see it. So now I'm going to add the shadows at the bottom leaves, and you can see that again I'm thinking in shapes, and I also want to make sure to think about the positive and negative shapes. And you can see that the stem of this leaf, which is in the midground, is going underneath this leaf as well. So I want to capture that too. So I'm trying to capture that, and there's also shadow underneath that leaves. So I'm also bringing that shadow as well. And if you see our reference, it kind of looks a little bit dull, but I make it a little bit vibrant because so that it looks really nice, especially for florals. Again, the things which are on the foreground, I don't care about it that much because, as I said, our focal point is the flowers. The rest of the painting, it's going to be act as a stand-in. But again, while doing this, adding the shadow and everything, I'm trying to use different color as well. And there's also this couple of this brown spots, and I'm trying to add it on the foreground, which is also really good because it also gives a little bit of color variation. So not everything looks green, and there's a little bit of this, it doesn't look monotonous. And that's the other thing. I also see a lot of my student work is they just use only few colors. But it's really necessary, especially in watercolors, we have to show that we are using a lot of different colors. And that's where the true skill comes from. And this is what I was talking about, the top leaf, and I went and glazed over it, as you can see it. And again, now the thing is, I'm trying to, this is the step once I finished my first wash, lighting and shadow. This is the wash I do it at the end to see if the values are close to my reference. And I'm thinking about if the values are there and if it looks 3D, it doesn't look flat. If it looks flat, I'll try to go and fix it. And I'm also thinking, how can I simplify in a way that I can make this 3D? And you can see that there's a couple of spots I'm darkening it up. It's just called glazing, and it's kind of layering. And even in the brown spots, there's a couple of this darker spots as well. I'll go and add it as well, and as you can see it here. There's also another concept I think about while painting is creating depth. Even if I'm painting cityscape or landscape or florals or still life, I'm always thinking about how can I create depth. So usually in a painting or in reality, what happens is things which are close to us looks vibrant, and things which go far away as have less value, and it also the colors get more cool in coolant colors. So since we are painting like more of a warmish color, so the things which is on top of the flower, I'm trying to make it a little bit of less vibrant, but as it comes to us, I'll make it more vibrant. We can't see it here, but I'm trying to introduce it in such a way. And now I'm using white paint because when I'm painting some of the areas, I kept it a little bit darker. So you can see that this is just to bring a couple of highlights here and there. But I wouldn't do a painting just with white paint. If you're thinking of using white paint and painting it, might as well use gouache. Don't use watercolors, because watercolors is known for the transparency. So we can create this transparency, and watercolor is also really fast in order to achieving that as well. And again, this leaf which is in the background is not reading that well, so there's a little bit of darker shadow at the bottom of the leaf, and I'm trying to capture that to enhance the look even further. And again, when I finish the painting, I always squint my eyes and check my references several times to see if it works fine. And some days what happens is once I finish the painting, I'll put it aside and I'll go back to it after 2 or 3 days. So what happens is, if you're painting with a reference for a long time and your eyes kind of get used to the reference and your painting, and we're not able to see everything as close as possible, in that case, take some time off and go back to your painting. My background looks a little bit dull, so I'm going to increase the vibrancy by glazing over with a little bit of green and blue. And actually this is how the painting looks like. I didn't do any other painting, and now it's your turn. Take my reference or use your own reference and apply the principles of what I showed today. Thank you once again for watching this painting tutorial. Please feel free to share your thoughts on the video in the comment section below. If you have any other watercolor related topics you would like me to cover, reach out to me at watercolorimpressions@gmail.com or leave a comment down below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and be sure to hit the subscribe button to become a part of our learning community. By subscribing, you will receive weekly upload notifications and stay updated on our channel and share with your fellow artists, friends and family. And good luck with your painting, folks.